Welcome to the 12-Step Recovery Evolution podcast. Visit recoveryevolution.co.uk for more episodes, helpful resources and links to our social media. Also visit the site for information on how you can attend a future Zoom session or workshop live. Thank you.
Morning everyone. Thank you Fox for taking the meeting, and thank you Lester for asking me to share, although he's not here. I always get really anxious before I'm going to share, so I always go and I get on my knees and I ask God to take away all of my fear and anxiety to help my share be authentic and real and help me to be an inspiration to anyone in recovery. And I just want to done that, and I feel a little bit better now. So this share is about my journey to God, which means I've come from somewhere. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about my addiction and where I've come from. Basically, I got in a really dysfunctional relationship at about 17. I knew he was a thief. Him and all of his mates would go around robbing everyone. And I found that really attractive. I was attracted to the darkness of it all. I knew he'd done drugs. I didn't know anything about heroin though at the time. And eventually I asked him for what's called a boot, and I had some of that, and I remember it making me feel really sick, but I just wanted to try it again, thinking it'd be different next time. And eventually he gave me a hit, and I had an absolute breakdown. I thought, this is what I've been looking for all my life. It gave me that total oblivion, and that's the ease and comfort that I was looking for. And I had a breakdown, and I remember thinking, that's it. Like, this is probably going to be my life for a long time, and it's going to be a long, painful journey. And it really was. I was shoplifting a lot because I had to fund my habit. He was going in and out of prison all the time, and eventually I got caught shoplifting quite a lot, and I got caught once and they put me on a tag, and I went to my dad's in Boreham Wood on a tag, and I thought, and I weren't allowed out during the day. I had to stay inside between 9 and 5 every day, and I thought, how else can I earn my money? And at the time I was quite attractive. I was about 18, and I started escorting basically, and to begin with, it was all right. It was good money and everything was cool. And then gradually, as the years went by, because I was injecting, my looks were fading. I was getting abscesses all over me. I was put in such dangerous positions and situations. And I'd done that for about 18 years. And I was homeless. I went to prison a few times. That was petrifying. I was in prison with Myra Hindley, went to Holloway. I was covered in abscesses and stuff. My health was fading. And then basically I ended up, I had no friends. My family didn't want to be around me. I think it was probably quite painful. I remember my uncle saying to me, look, I'll pay for you to go into rehab. And I just said, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm not done. And then sort of my boyfriend was in and out of prison. I think the last time he went to prison, he got 8.5 years for drug dealing. And I was pregnant at the time, and I went for the scan, and they basically told me the baby was dead, and I had a massive sort of breakdown. But then I used that as an excuse to really smash myself to pieces, and I was drinking vodka and stuff at the time. And yeah, basically it was the drinking that had me on my knees, but I was also addicted to methadone, diazepam. I used to order them from Spain and eat them. Be eating diazes. I was absolutely comatose all the time, like dribbling down myself and burning holes in myself by accident where I was gouging all the time. But so eventually I thought, I can't do this anymore. So I went to my local drug agency and I asked them for help. And they were really good. They were really patient with me. And eventually they got me in some pre-detox groups, and I went to them, and even though I'd have a boot in my bag and I'd have a bottle of vodka in the group, I still went to every one. And eventually they got me into East Coast Recovery. I didn't know anything about 12-step. I'd never been to a meeting before. And when I got there, I'd done a really, really long, painful detox from diazepam. I remember being in group and them asking me to talk, and I just walked out and collapsed and just fell on my face. And so I went through the steps. I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. I remember them giving me a book and saying, like, I remember thinking, how the hell is this book going to keep me clean and sober? And how is asking God to direct my thinking? What has any of that got to do with me and drinking? And so I just went through the steps and went through the process. And I got to my step 4, and that gave me the opportunity to look at myself. And then I'd done step 5, 6 and 7. And I put off my amends. My mum had come and see me, and I remember thinking, right, I'll do it this time. But I was so scared, I put it off for ages, and I stayed really, really sick for a long time. And it weren't until really I moved out the rehab that I started doing my amends. And then I noticed that, well, I didn't notice, but other people noticed that I started changing. When I was talking to people, I could look them in the eye when I was talking to them. And I remember Sonia trying to speak to me once, and I just turned around and walked away because I was so frightened of people getting close to me, and I had massive fear of intimacy. But I started doing my amends and I started changing. And basically, when I moved out, I moved into a tiny little flat. It was horrible. I had no heating, no TV. There were crackheads all around me, but I threw myself into meetings. I'd work for Leicester, I'd volunteer in the shop for 40 hours a week. I'd do that. I'd come home, have a quick shower, go to a meeting, do the meeting every day, service, leave the meeting, and then go to the houses and help a new girl. And to start off with, I was like, oh, I've got to go and help a new girl. But after a couple of weeks, I was like, yes, I'm going to help people. And I really, really loved it. And I sort of felt like I'd caught a recovery bug, and I started enjoying everything I was doing. And after a while, Sonia basically come around my flat, and she was like, you shouldn't be living like this. You were still living like a junkie. And she basically asked me if I wanted to move in with her, and I did, and that was absolutely life-changing. Leicester gave me a job in the shop, and I was earning my own money, so that gave me the opportunity to save up for a deposit for a house, which I moved in with Ricky. And you know, it's really lovely. I've got a little garden. We've got a bedroom for his kids to stay in. And while I'm doing all that, I'm building relationships up with my family still. They come to see me. I love Ricky's kids and they love me. And then I decided to get baptised. And when I did, while I was up on stage, Ricky come up and got down on one knee and asked me to marry him. And I've never felt like that. When I was up on stage talking, giving my speech and looking down, seeing all my family looking at me, and I looked at my brother and his bottom lip was wobbling. He was crying, seeing me up on that stage. And to see him so proud of me, it just makes me really emotional. And today, that I sort of lacked in my faith a little bit, but But when all this stuff happened with my brother, and my mum phoned me crying and said, get all of your friends to pray for your brother, basically he's going to die. And that's what me and Ricky did. We sent out messages to Soul Church, to my church. I do a spirit, mind and body group. We put it out in there and got everyone praying for him. And I spoke to Sonia and she went, look, I was in pieces. And she went, look, go in your house, shut your windows and put some worship music on. And I did. And I did that for 8 hours. I prayed, I begged, I cried my eyes out, begging God, do not take my brother. And within 8 hours' time, I got a call from my mum to say that he'd made a turnaround and he was stable. So any doubts or fears I had about God were absolutely smashed. And I made some promises, and they're between me and God, about what I will do if my brother gets better, and I've got to now do that. And I've talked to my nieces and my nephews every day, more than that, trying to be a supportive auntie. And I was doing an alpha group to learn more about basically my higher power when I was in treatment was the spirit of the universe and its connection to myself, and that's changed. Now, I used to be embarrassed to say this because some of my friends will sort of dig me out for this, but now my higher power is Jesus, and I'm not ashamed to say that anymore because of all the stuff that's happened with my brother. I really don't care. If you don't accept me for who I am, then that's your stuff, and you don't have to be in my life anymore, and I'm cool with that. And yeah, I'm really, really grateful for everything. I'm grateful my brother's well, and I'll leave it there.